You recording? You recording? Okay, come in close. So some reassembly basics or things we need to cover. I shouldn't say basics, things we need to cover in reassembly. Shaft's got to come out in order for the disc to go in. I may have improperly demonstrated how to remove this disc by beating on it with a steel hammer, which was bad. And that's my fault, okay? We should be using some kind of a nylon, rubber, or rawhide mallet. Okay, so this material is not as hard as our disc, which means it won't dent it. Place this roughly in place here. Use the table as a gap, works out well in a classroom. Normally we do this in a, I would say, a shop or a lab environment. But for the few actions that we have to do in here, that'll do. So now we've got to get this lined up, and it's a little bit of a guess and check. That's pretty good. And we want to get our hole lined up here because we're going to put a roll pin back into it. So this should bottom out, and I need you to zoom in here close. There is a flat. Let me pull this back out. There's a flat on the shaft for a reason. The D washer goes on this, slides down to the bottom, and it stops on that flat. So the shaft then goes in, and the D washer goes in as far as possible. Oh, not good. D washer's got a little bit of issue. We didn't move this far forward in the presentation. I'll need one more tool here, most likely. Let me see if I can improvise. That's going in. That's gonna have to punch, oh, that's far enough actually. So that D-washer is below. Can you zoom in and focus on, there is a land or a groove in there. And that was not modeled in on most of the valve bodies. But that groove is for this snap ring to reside in. So we need a split ring pliers, which goes in like this. And it needs to be set so that you can contract the diameter of the split ring. So we'll pull it together. And right now, it's set so that it expands the diameter. The cool thing about these pliers is they're reversible. So if we move the fulcrum point over the center, now when I squeeze this together, it's going to bring the snap ring together. There, squeeze, and drop this down in. Oop, almost went in.
No way he made that. You did not write his disc on the bottom.
And it has almost seated in. Watch, I'll push this side down. There, it's seated in there. Now I cannot pull the shaft out any further than the top of that. Now I had to chamfer these edges on the belt sander because they were mushroomed from somebody hitting this many times with a hammer. So we may have to just clean up these edges so that that D-ring can slide on there. Next thing we'd have to do is turn the shaft until the holes line up for the butterfly disc, which is about right there. Can you zoom in really close there? Inside the hole. And then I need to pull this out a little bit, and I'm really close to aligned right there. And now I could take my roll pin, drive my roll pin in, and my butterfly would be fused to the shaft so that when I turn the shaft, the butterfly turns. From there, we have some assembly on the top, and I think we'll demonstrate that as well. Dial has to go on first, and I just wanted to show the interaction of these. The dial, if we line up close with open, you know what, Marcel, you are not incorrect in thinking the other way. There is a way that this dial will go on here, and we're gonna have to figure it out on the fly. So handle, D shape or flats on the handle go on like this, and the handle is going to turn. If these were locked together, we would figure out where closed would indicate. So the closed side would be here. Hold on, you're doing good. The releasing lever locks into this. When I pull it down like this, it unlocks and it moves between segments. So this would be 5 to 10 degrees open, 20 degrees open, 30 degrees open, or all the way back to closed. We have to figure out where that works in relationship. The other thing that keeps the handle on here from slipping off is a 15 millimeter M8 metric bolt. So back on here. I'll grab this one for now. This thread's in the side, and it is a set screw. When tightened against the shaft, it should not slip off there. We need to get it tighter. Finger tight's probably not good enough, because if we pick this up and it slips off of here, it could be a safety concern. So we want to tighten this fully with a wrench. We're getting closer here. We'd install our bolts on top. These tabs go up because they are stoppers for the handle. And that's it. Put the roll pin back in place, and we're pretty much completely assembled. Let's call that scene.